Disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. I was 2 years old. Allowances made for fair use, quote unquote, fair use, for purposes such as criticism, like, I don't like this shit. Comment, like, that's some shit. News reporting, like, this is the shit that happened. Teaching, which you should be learning this shit. Scholarship, I knew that shit. Education and research, we are learning what the shit is, and then we're gonna figure it out and tell you what the shit is. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing, like you think you own this, but somebody else has turned it into art. Stand by.
Going to say the things that nobody ever wants to hear, things that I can't even repeat right now, but he was very violent and he was very anti just about everybody.
A beautiful woman, and she's giving me that look, you know? And I'm no single bar stud, but I know what that's all about. I know what that look's about. That look is about seduction. This woman's a seductress, a temptress, a slut, scum, whore, a prostitute, hooker, call them whatever you want. They hook you into a life of feeding and
Good
petulance.
evening.
And behind every one of them, there's a pimp. And those pimps aren't nice guys. Walk up to you in the street, burn your eye out with a cigarette.
I thought I will bring out this guy that's so negative, and the audience will reject him, but maybe they'll be turned on by him at the same time, and they'll be stuck with the fact that they like somebody that they're not supposed to like.
They'll slice you up, they'll cut you up.
Doesn't that sound familiar? Are you recognizing the spirit of the character from 1979, played by Eric Bogosian? Does it strike a nerve with you that he's saying things that we hear quite commonly online? Is this truth coming from a character? Is this a mirror of what we see? Is art a mirror of what we see in the world? Are characters a lie? I would challenge you to say no. Not at all. In fact, we learn everything we know in the world, most pertinently from the characters we are interested in, whether it be books, our lore, and let's face it, humans learned more often from word of mouth, from a spoken story, about the characters that they admired and wished to be like. Now, were these characters true? I ask you, judge for yourselves. And by the way, Toxic Angel, we can do that at the end of the week. That sounds amazing. Yeah, no, I definitely want to get back into, especially because it's spooky time. Towards the end of the week, maybe Friday, we can do some VR cultist stuff. Yeah, that would fit perfectly, and that'd be beautiful. How you doing, Toxic?
It was a theater of aggression. It was about really involving everybody. I mean, it was kind of like taking a lot of the 60s and early 70s experimental theater ideas and putting them in a punk environment. The only problem was that ultimately
Toxic,
it was a one-line joke. I mean, again and again and again I would get on stage, and again I would upset people. And I realized that they just wanted more. I mean, if I had come out on stage, poured gasoline on my head, and lit a match, they would have been in ecstasy.
That's caffeine you're hearing being imbibed.
Let's go back to Ricky for just a moment. Was he that intellectually
I got you.
creative?
No, I'll hit you up.
Oh, yeah.
I'll change the title later on tonight.
Did I go
set it
through all
up.
this thought
Yeah.
process? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I was very, very steeped in the conceptual art scene, the performance art scene that was existing at that time in the late 70s in New York and Soho.
Now, what is performance art? Now, it could be described as many different behaviors on the stage in front of an audience, but I can tell you succinctly, performance art is a mixture of art and performance. Not unlike being on stage in a theatrical show, but there's no script in this case. This is a performance of art itself, as a persona, as a character, or as a prop, as a representation, as an allegory, as a metaphor. It is whatever you need it to be to impart the feeling to the audience. And this is some of the stuff we're going to talk about today, but we're going to talk about some healthy habits. We're going to talk about some basic instincts. We're going to talk about what we do on the streams, but I figured it was great to hear from Eric Bogosian because he invented the realism of the modern day and gave us the characters that were so true that it made the audiences angry sometimes because it hit such a nerve.
Come out of the theater.
And I'd say
and
the
I've been
Red
acting
Pill
since I was 14.
sure
but I'd
sounds
gotten
like
bored
his
with a lot of what I saw in the theater.
punk rock
So
character
I
from
started hanging around
1979.
all these artists, and they were doing a lot of talking about what they were doing. There was a lot of theory behind what was going on, and my friends were spending a lot of time talking about why we make what we make. What is the effect we want to get?
Who were some of the artists that are having that kind of effect on you?
Well, Robert Longo, Cindy Sherman, Michael Zwack, Jack Goldstein, David Sally, were all making either work that was very set off, like, I found this, take a look at it.
Well, Longo, for example, those kind of violent.
Yes, or very violent, very confrontational. Saying that when your role in watching something is as important as the guy who made it.
Your role in watching something is as important as the guy who made it. And with those words, I think you know what time it is, my friends. It's time to look up.
Cindy Sherman
Roberts is very violent.
taking pictures of herself, in a sense, and because is kind of what you were doing too.
Well, yeah, Cindy and I are very parallel in that we're looking at what makes a person be who they are. And in my first solos, I was looking at, I had a real problem as an actor saying, this is me and now I'm going to go play this guy over here. I said, wait a minute, I'm all these people. I have a lot of people inside of me. Who are they? And that's how I started making the solos, was just looking at the kinds of people. Nobody's one person, and everybody plays roles in their life. When you go to the doctor's office and you go to see the doctor is playing the role of being a doctor.
Nobody is one person in their life. We all wear masks. We all create characters to deal with different situations. Now, some people, if they have actual psychological issues, they may not be able to fuse those masks, but that's not what we're talking about. That's not the focus of today. And in fact, before I go ahead, I'm going to make this one trigger warning that if in fact you are having a hard time discerning the difference between real and not real online, and you are having a hard time getting away from the internet and its personas, and you really have bought into everybody here and you live your whole life here, I ask you this, and I urge you this, from the deepest portion of my spirit and being, log off. If you're having a hard time, log off. Don't just touch grass, go make friends, find something else to do. Let the internet be something you do once in a while, something you watch. But I remind each and every one of you that everything you see through a screen is via a camera, and that means it's a show. And if the person on the other side of that camera isn't taking it as show, that's bad on them. And frankly, it doesn't look very good on you if you believe that everything has to be real. Because reality is as you make it. You take the message as you want it. You take and glean what you need. But today, tonight, this evening, my friends, I'm sharing with you everything I know about the healthier sides of creating a show. Hello, everybody. What's happening? Sorry, flipped to the wrong channel. Oh, best practices. Okay, everything's up in front of me. What's happening? I'm AronMSound. This is the show known as Look Up, the remix, where I interject myself into a conversation and by way of which take it someplace it wasn't meant to go. And today, I am doing my Healthy Streamer and Actor course. Now, you might wonder, why would a streamer need some kind of acting exercises? Well, my friends, it's very clear that there's a lot of drama, trauma, troubled people, and folks playing out themselves online without protecting themselves, both psychologically and also just performance-wise. And I also notice a lot of drolling, a lot of the Twitch Bowl world melding into the performance environment, the actual acting environment, the actual storytelling environment, the environment of creativity. and also public speaking. Now, there's a difference between all these things. And mind you, I'm not going to say you shouldn't drone on and just be like this on the camera because you are playing video games and giving a reaction. Okay, you could do that. That's fine. If you found your audience there, good for you. But that's not what this is supposed to be. This is supposed to be entertainment. Entertainment is just that. And it is that because you're watching it on a screen. Period. Never has there ever been a confabulation or confusion before, but rather until this generation that grew up with computer screens in front of them started to basically, in my estimation and my observation, confuse these things, not knowing that VCs and phone conversations are not streaming a show. A show is a show. If you just turn on your camera and you talk to the camera, well, good on you for having an audience that wants to listen to you. Maybe they want to look at you. Who knows? Maybe you're an oddity. Maybe you're an enigma. That's all good. But I would urge you to stay away from the fascist mindset that only, absolutely 100%, whoever the person is sitting on the camera droning on about whatever they feel is the only way to do this. As a matter of fact, if you go back in the history of streaming and YouTube, which I am very much a part of, whether you like it or not, you'll find it's all about performance. The earliest streaming pieces that I was involved in were shows. Concerts did it first. Generally. There were other things, but less important. The point of today, though, is to practice some exercises, to get out of the bad habits, to learn some good healthy reasoning, and to keep yourself above board psychologically, just generally in mental health, and also to bring your show possibly to another level, and maybe learn some new habits or exercises that you could benefit from. And today, as always, I like to start with a warm-up. First, we warm up your body, then we warm up your mind, and then, where are we? All right. Fluzzy B, what's happening? How you feeling? Yeah, first, I'm so glad to see you. First, we warm up your body, then we warm up your mind, then we get your energy going. What's important about this when you're sitting on a stream? Well, first off, let's talk about the fact that your body is what has to sustain you. Your voice, your diaphragm, your breath, your torso, your ass has to sit in the seat or stand, depending upon how you stream, and you have to be able to physically take some period of time where you are performing in high energy and or at a consistent plateau where you are entertaining, right? I would hope so. What's important about your mind? Keeping focused, understanding practices to keep you in the moment, staying in the moment, like I talked about a couple weeks ago, and also listening, hearing what people are saying to you. Your energy. What is important about your energy? Well, we, as a people, as a species, as something that exists in a, protonic universe, meaning that we are particles and we vibrate, we should know that our energy is useful, even in our imagination, to create positive flow in ourselves, meaning hype ourselves up, bring ourselves some imaginative energy so we can create ourselves our own little battery that we can pull from any time just to remind ourselves we are our own sun. Okay? All right. So, first, today, let's start with a little shoulder work. So we're going to just roll them back and forth in the chair. I'm not going to actually stand up. Ladies and gentlemen, hobos and trans, cross-eyed mosquitoes, and bullet ants to stand for you, to sit beside you, to tell you something I know way a ton about. Ladies and gentlemen, my sidekick cohort, colleague, most unofficial and very official co-host and producer, Lita Capretta! Sorry, I had the wrong effect on. It's on the wrong channel. Anyway, she knows what's up. Here we go. That's 3 air horns for Lita. That's 3 air horns. Anyhow, so let's start. I'm gonna move the chair back a little bit. We're gonna do mostly chair exercises. You don't have to stand up for this one. We're just gonna get your shoulders going real slow, nice and slow. Don't push too hard. We're just pushing them back. Now, what you want to do is each one of your shoulders, as opposed to like lifting your whole neck. You see how my neck isn't moving when I do this? You want to just focus on your shoulder one at a time, moving back. Try to keep your head still, looking forward. And rotate them one at a time. Feel a little stretch. If you're feeling a little pain, don't do that. Just enough so you feel a little stretch in there. Now do them forward. Yeah, let's get them just nice and kind of lubricated up in there. Get that stuff just kind of loosened up. You can do this in any chair. If you need to stand up, go ahead. If your shoulders don't have that kind of mobility, that's okay. Do what you can. Don't stretch yourself. This isn't like some crazy hot yoga class where I'm like, your ass isn't touching your nipples. What's wrong with you? Yes, imagine that, ass and nipples. Imagination is everything, folks. It's what keeps us moving. Now let's try it backwards again. Moving them back slowly, consistently, raising them up to your ears and pushing them back towards your back. Yeah. You're watching a warm-up, Dank. Are you not man enough to do some warm-ups with us? I'm sure you are. Come on, limber up, brother. Loosen up. This is about healthy streaming practices. By the way, I'll tell you a little story, Dank. Back in my day, when I was a teenager, I'd been taking dance classes forever, which means I was always paired with a girl, dancing. So I knew the secret. So now what we're gonna do, by the way, we're gonna take the side of the chair. If you have handles, that's perfect. If you don't, put them on your chair. And now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna lean forward real slowly. And straighten your back, keep your head straight up. Pointed towards the camera if you got it. And then back up in your chair. It's very easy. If you got the handles, it'll give you a little more stretch because your elbows are up. So yeah, the story is, Dang, I would take dance classes in junior high school as opposed to PE because I was basically on long distance and the football team. And so I didn't feel like I needed PE. And I got harassed. One more time down. Oh, let me put my hands down. So you see what I did there? Where my elbows are behind me? You don't want to do that. You're going to stretch your back a little too far. So keep them squared if you can, or as much as you can, leaning forward. And then once more, back up. If you're feeling a little tension in your back, that means you're doing some good work. Now, let's lean it back. Lean your head all the way back in the chair. Bring your shoulders up. Ooh, yeah. Push them down. Yeah. All right. So I took dance classes, and I got harassed like you wouldn't believe, Dang, by all the quote-unquote manly men out there, those teenagers. All right, now we're going to pull our shoulders across. And, yeah, you want to grab the furthest edge of your shoulder, right here, next to your shoulder and your arm. And you're going to pull across your chest, one direction or another. Pull until you almost see your back, and your chin should almost touch your shoulder. So yeah, as I'd get harassed, it took them a couple weeks to catch up. I was in a class where I was one male in a class of 74 or 75 women, girls, whatever. It was junior high school. And I felt very comfortable. Probably too comfortable. But the truth is, that second semester, the PE classes, now you're going to take your arms and you're going to go to the opposite direction. I'm sorry, I didn't mention that because I was telling the story. Yeah, you want to do that on the other side too, on your left side. Let's do this once more anyways, because I left it out, right? And so yeah, that next semester, I wasn't alone in that class anymore. There was a good 30 other people with me. Oh, that's good to know, yeah. Because Parishnikov is a badass. I saw him rehearse once in downtown LA. So yeah, just keep going back and forth between your arms. Get them nice and warm. All right, now we're gonna do the opposite direction, both arms at the same time. Moving them out. Oh yeah, push them all the way back so you feel your stretch up at the pecs. Yeah, you can even, clench your fists when you do it back. Gives you a little more like power pose. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I danced, as a practice and health all the way up into my early 20s until it wasn't necessary, and then I was in the theater and stuff like that. So pull it back now. We're going to do lower portion on your elbow. Pull it back to your so if it's your right elbow, pull it to your left. Mystery Sky, what's happening? Now try the other elbow. Pull that back towards left elbow towards the right. Oh, yeah. We are warming up. Yes, indeed, Dank. I also tumbled a bunch because, you know, slapstick comedy and all that stuff. So I used to have no fear I would dive off things. This is why I have sciatica now. But literally, like, I was known for, like, if you gave me a pit to jump into, I would never look. It would just be like, is there soft things in there? Okay. Okay. Anyways. Okay, so let's push the shoulders back, both of them at the same time. Let's do the circles again, but this time hold your hips. So you get a little more stretch out of the back now that we've gotten a little. Now let's do one at a time. Okay, now we're gonna do both at a time. Oh yeah, both of them at the same time. All right, cool. Oh yeah, upper torso should be feeling pretty good. Now one more time, both arms though. We're gonna push them forward, so you see my huge hands. And we're gonna pull them one at a time. Take one hand and pull your arm out. Maybe you might crack a knuckle or something. It's okay. Pull your wrist towards the camera. Then do the other arm. Pull it out. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that'll do it. Now, mine is from tumbling and then a 17-hour flight to Russia in a terrible seat. Definitely had something to do with it. And also pushing and lifting incredibly large cases onto semis for 30 years. That's something they don't tell you about rock and roll, that at the end of the day, you get to load your own trucks. Ain't that glamorous? Oh, you get to do the whole show, be treated like royalty all day, and then put some gloves on and get in the frickin' truck. Most people don't know that every guy you've ever seen mix a concert knows how to pack the frick out of a truck. Has been in many semis. May have even lived in a portion of a semi during the day. It's true. All right, so the next portion, we are going to just do some simple hand rotation. Why? Because we've now warmed up our shoulders. We've warmed up our back. And what you want to do with this is, you see how flat my hand is? Let it turn. You want to keep it really as flat as you can. And if you can't do that, you don't have the mobility for it, just do it slowly. And you'll feel the tendons in your wrist by extending it. Kind of warm up. LAX to Puerto Rico. Oh, damn. Yeah, that's a tough one. Oh, that's within the layovers, too. Now, let's do the other hand. I'm going to pull it towards the camera so you can see what it looks like at the front. So you do both directions. Yeah, you should feel the tendons kind of pulling out. All right. All right, shake them out. Shake their hands out. Just shake them. Shake them like a moneymaker. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. All right, this next portion, we're going to stand up. I know I said I wasn't going to do a lot of standing, so this is the only one we're going to do standing. Once again, hips. Now, part of the reason that I'm going to focus on hips is for a couple of us who have sciatica. Turn up the mic here. There we go. And it's not just sciatica, it's the fact that you sit in a chair for a long period of time if you're streaming. And it's important to keep your hips, your ass, or your glute, your legs, and everything kind of warmed up when you're going to sit there for a long period of time. Because if you have sciatica or you don't, you can actually develop it by just sitting in a chair. Also, sitting in a chair really slows down your metabolism, and it also slows down your heart rate to the point where your blood flow just isn't as fast as it would be if you're standing, because there's more mobility in standing and more motion in standing, as well as more weight on your feet, etc., etc. There's a lot of reasons. So what we're going to do now is just simple hip movement to start. So if you can, swivel your hips without moving the top half of your body to the left. Do this a couple times. Perfect. See, I even had to bite my lip for a second there, because it might take some of you some concentration. I know that some of you are probably doing this. That's okay. If you're learning, try to really isolate the lower half of your body. Keep the top half not moving. You see how this isn't moving very much? And then the other direction as well. Now, the real trick of this is to actually take your pelvis and push it far forward in each direction. I know this is going to look weird, but that's me. Awkward. Awkward, right? I talk about making you feel awkward. I can just stare at the camera and be like, hi. I can even do the rhythm. Oh, okay, sorry. Anyways. Oh, I love those. That's the, dang, that's that, anti-grav thing. I really actually need one of those. I do that, like, on the wall. I have a yoga thing. So yeah, what we're doing is swiveling. You can bend your, what you can't see is I'm bending my knees a little too. Now, especially if you're a little stiff. You see I'm bent, you can't because I'm, okay. So next step of this is we're actually gonna just bend. Bend your knees. We're gonna count to 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're gonna come back up. Now make sure that your feet are straight ahead and that your knees are facing forward as well. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, back up. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Beautiful. All right, now shake out your feet. Shake out your feet. Get them going. Let's do little hands too. Let's actually shake out the shoulders too. Let's shake out the whole top. Let's do that. All right, now we're shaking out the whole top, right? Let's roll our head around a little bit. Let the top half loose and just roll your head around. Real slowly. Don't put too much pressure in it, just to one direction. Either way. Once you do a couple times around, feel free to close your eyes. Do it the other direction. We might feel a little cracking in there. Really keep it loose. Roll it around so that the back of your head touches as far as it can. Get your ears to your shoulders. And then stand back up and lean your head all the way back. Leave your hands near your pelvis so you can keep your balance. Come back up. One more time, head down, rolling around. Either direction is fine. Let your arms float. Sorry, I'm reminded. Keep your back a little more flat. And then roll your head around the other direction. See, I'm kind of stiff too. All right, now your head back up and lean back. Just a little, hold near your pelvis. Let your head go back so your chin is up. And come back up to standing. All right, let's get back to the chair. We're gonna work on your mind. Oh, I almost forgot. No, one last one. Okay, so this is an exercise for your diaphragm. And I was asked to do this, and I'm so glad I wrote a note. That's why when I sat down, I was like, oh, yeah. By the way, this is a good time to take a little water break or, take a little moment for yourself. Okay, so this one's pretty solid. This one is about the strength of your diaphragm and getting both the volume of your voice consistent, strong, speaking to the back of the room, and in the case of those of us who are just speaking on the camera, speaking to the mic, it really does support the fact that we'll be speaking for long periods of time. Oh yeah, laying with your legs up on the wall. There's a number of great little techniques for killing sciatica issues. I've tried a bunch of them, and I used to see a lady who was a massage therapist and knew all of this stuff. She told me so many tricks, including these pressure point things that are super painful, but once you're done with it, it's, oh my gosh. Anyway, so the exercise we're gonna do is based around your diaphragm. And I'm gonna stand back up, but you can do this in a chair. Or actually, you know what, I'll do it in the chair. I'm just gotta move it back and pull the microphone a little more forward. All right, so what you wanna do is we're gonna count to 100. Now, you don't have to go all the way if you're not capable of it. I understand. This is actually an exercise. So every time you say a number, you are going to pull in your diaphragm. What is your diaphragm? If you don't know what your diaphragm is, it's the muscle behind your stomach. Now, you might think about your stomach having a bunch of muscles at the front. And your abs. No, behind your abs is what makes your breathing happen and your stomach move, it's called the diaphragm. And it is also the thing that gives you the vocal power, the ability to yell, the allowance to speak to the back of the room. And a lot of this has to do with your breathing. So, what we're going to do is each time we say the number, you're going to pull in your diaphragm visibly. And I'm going to show you how it looks. 1. I'm not pushing. I'll leave my hands out here. 2. Oh, here, let me pull my shirt in. 3. You see how that happens? 4. So you're actually sucking in your stomach. And that's your diaphragm doing that. So you ready? This is a great exercise. Do it only so far as you can. And then that'll let you know how much more you need to work on. I'm going to do it to 100. So you ready? Here we go. 1, 2, and let your diaphragm push out the air. 3, 4, 5, 6. Let it be what creates the volume. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'm only loud because this is pushing the air out. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. This is the exact same muscle that every singer, that every opera singer uses to define their vocal and to be louder and to belt. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. If you're not already feeling it, you should be. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. If you've gotten this far and you've never done it before, you're doing a great job. 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. When you're getting to this point, you should probably make sure that you're staying consistent, that you're not dropping in volume, that the same amount of air is being used each and every time. 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76. By the way, if you didn't notice, I straightened my back because I felt myself slouching. It's very important. You don't want to crunch the muscles. 77, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90. If you notice, I've taken a breath in between each and every one through my mouth. 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. If you practice that, you too can get to 100, and you'll find that your abdomen is stronger for it. It doesn't get rid of fat. It is not that kind of workout, but what it does is it gives you an inner strength. It actually gives you a core strength, and it gives you your vocal a strength that allows it to last for a lot longer. Believe it or not, it is directly connected to how you breathe. So, take it as you will. That's the exercise for this week. We'll go back at it again next week, but I urge each and every one of you to practice at least one of these things and do it before you actually start your stream to warm up. Thank you, Lizard Tree. Oh yeah, you really can feel a little bit of a burn in when you're doing it right. You should be feeling your muscles just a little bit, nothing too deep, but just to warm up, just to get it warm. All right, your mind. Now, if you remember last week, I worked on some more intention and focus on and giving ourselves a thing to focus on when we're looking at the camera or thought in our mind. So it makes us, oh, thank you, Tank, I appreciate that. I've kind of found like this was missing in amongst all the drama and craziness, and I felt like somebody should be talking about the fact that it really came up around Merck, and that's why I tapped Brittany Simon in this one, because I thought that maybe she'd be interested in that. Thank you so much, Bridget. I appreciate that. I almost called you Brittany. I've been watching too much BJ. Thank you. Yeah, so I felt like this sector was kind of missing, and that we should start talking about this, because even playing a character, there's still truth and honesty. And if we practice healthy habits, we can find that these traditions of performance and acting are not just for speakers or actors, but they're also for, we've come to find out, boxers, fighters. These mindsets are helpful in getting ourselves into better positions of thinking and rationalization and empathy and dealing with others and having a greater understanding for our fellow human as well, which I think will broaden the conversations online. And the influence, just a little influence of positivity, I think also helps. Oh, thank you, Dank. I appreciate it. You have a great evening. That's very kind. No, I mean, like, Flezzy B, it may be that your muscles in your back haven't been built up as much, and you will feel it, because it does. Your diaphragm reaches all the way around to your back. It's right behind your abdomen. So it is the muscle right behind your abdomen. So it's a thing. You'll feel it, especially if you're not used to it. Or maybe the stretches. Yeah, don't do too much. That'll hurt. Don't, if it feels like hurty or kind of too warm, don't do it. But just warm up, just a little bit, just to get your flexibility and stuff. So, your mind. This week, we're going to be doing some basic staring once again, and I have a countdown ready. And when I say basic staring, what do I mean? I mean looking at the camera, looking at you, and engaging. Not just looking at the camera, but doing with a, oh, my pleasure, man. Positivity, that's what it's about. Creativity, that's what it's about. All the rest of that, I have no clue what people are doing. I do, but I don't want to. And that's why I figure, let's talk about this. I've been SAG-AFTRA since I was 8 years old, and being online like this is something I came back to because I felt like I had a bit of a responsibility, and it's fun. I've been involved with it for so long, and it's fun to me. It's a show, and I felt like maybe people wanted to see that again. Anyway, so engaging with yourself. Don't need any specific thought for this, but we're going to start with 30 seconds of time just engaging with yourself, meaning looking in the camera or the mirror and looking at you earnestly in the camera, or just the camera or the mirror, but looking yourself in the eye. You don't need to have, once again, any specific thought. Yes, sir, since I was 8 years old, although I never actually did movies, I got into definitely the point where I was getting callbacks and auditions for that as a young adult. And I did a lot of TV work, a lot of commercials, and a lot of voiceover stuff. Some things a lot of people have seen. But I ended up in rock and roll because so many reasons. Influence is everything. Anyways. So yes, 30 seconds of engagement with the self, whether it be in the mirror or the camera or your review screen. And when I suggest to you that you look at yourself, I don't mean just blatantly stare. I mean, look into yourself. You don't have to think anything specific, but engage with you. And if it's the camera and you can't see you, pretend in your mind's eye that the camera is a mirror. All right? So let's start the countdown right now. And here we go. 30 seconds of just you. You think this would be easy, right? Of course. What the hell? What happened there? Sorry, there's an advertisement at the end. Anyways, that was 30 seconds of staring at yourself. It's not that hard, right? Now, this time, we're going to do the same exercise. But this time, we're going to give it intention. And I want you to grab a hold of a thought. Something very specific. Something that maybe, in fact, absolutely gets you to feel something. Something that you hold maybe in your memory. Oh yeah, there's lots of things behind the scenes. True that. So, I would like you to picture in your mind something that is close to your heart. Something that reminds you of something important, somebody important, some memory that haunts you, some memory that makes you laugh, something you bring you joy, whatever it is. Make it a palpable, important memory. And just one, don't make it complex, just make it simple, and connect with that. And we're gonna do that for 30 seconds. You guys ready? Okay. So, looking in the mirror, looking at the camera, looking at the review screen, at yourself, just you, and just focusing on this one thought. Here we go. Okay, did you find something for yourself? Did it work? You want to try it again? All right. Let's hear a little more from Eric Bogosian about character. Speaking of which, because as he was saying, we all have, let me see if I can find the spot here. We all have character in us. We all have many faces in us. We all deal and are influenced by many people and by many thoughts. And it's important to reflect that.
Because it's kind of what you were doing too.
Well, yeah, Cindy and I are very parallel in that we're looking at what makes a person be who they are. And in my first solos, I was looking at, I had a real problem as an actor saying, this is me and now I'm going to go play this guy over here. I said, wait a minute, I'm all these people. I have a lot of people inside of me.
We all do.
Who are they? And that's how I started making the solos, was just looking at the kinds of people. Nobody's one person, and everybody plays roles in their life. When you go to the...
And this is why it's important to have an engagement with ourselves, to understand where we're at, and to find that plateau or platitude and balance it before we go and do any show. That's why I have us looking at ourselves. Now let's talk about something else and work on the last portion of the warm-up, our energy. Now, we can talk about this in lots of hoo-ha ways and say, well, you could infect others with your negative energy. That's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about your actual excitement, your level of actual energy. Speaking of which, caffeine works. Oh goodness, does it? And also, imagining that we are our own battery. Now, we did this, energy is everything. We did this last week, or a couple weeks ago, where we focused on creating a tiny sun, a little solar star, a little magical ball of fire that should emanate from our chest. Now, I want you to use your greatest imagination and really see it. And we're gonna work on our energy. And the first thing we're gonna do, as opposed to just creating that energy in front of us, we're gonna suck out all the bullshit from the week. All right? We're gonna just pull it out of us. Just picture it coming out, grody and greasy, just all nasty in this nasty chum bubble, and just yank it out. Pull it out of yourself. Hold it in your hand. And then you know what you want to do with it? Before you go streaming, before you go performing, before you go speak to people, take that nasty ball of bullshit and chuck it out the door. Leave it there. Trust me, nobody's gonna take it. It will be there, in the words of Dr. Ruth, when you get back. And in my own words, yeah, because nobody wants that bullshit anyways. All right? So taking the negative bullshit, all that shit from the center of your being, just pull it like a big old slug out of your being and just be oh God, I got you, motherfucker. Toss that shit. Leave it at the door. Ain't nobody gonna take it. Trust me. Nobody wants that fucking slug. All right? Now you got that slug out of you. It's a good place to start. Just picture it pulling all that away. Okay. Now let's work on the positive. You ready? Okay. Start with a little tiny spark in the center of your chest, just next to your heart. But you pull it from inside your mind. See it. Truly see it. Engage with it. See it lighting up right here in the middle of your chest, like Iron Man or some magical, mystical creature, right? You can see it warming up, just starting into a little tiny ball of fire right in front of you. That's you. That's your energy. You're giving that life. See it and put it in front of you. Make it a tiny blue star bobbling around like a bubble of fire in front of you. Just work your energy into it. And as you do, slowly control it into a slightly larger ball. Really see that energy come out of you. Really pull it out of you. It's you. You're one with it. Feel it tingle under your fingers. Feel the static. See it as it slowly grows as you pull your own energy out into it. See it as it slowly goes from blue to a warmer color, amber, and now maybe red and amber as it builds. And you've got this energy in front of you, and this energy ball is just vibing and humming and tingling because that's you. And hold it together. Just hold your energy in front of you as it becomes this huge ball. This huge beach ball of energy that you've got controlling in front of you like a static electric ball of fire. And now take that ball of fire and collapse it right back into you. Just go, yeah! And hold that energy. That's yours. And for the whole of your show, or your day, or your experience, whatever that be, when you're feeling down, know that your power plant is right there for you to see. You just have to see it with your imagination, your inner eye, and know that you are that energy, that ball of magical blue, white, red, amber light, electrically tingling in your hand. That's possible because you've given it the power to do so. Why? Is it a lie? No. That's you giving it its reality. In your mind. Does that make you delusional? No. It makes you creative. It makes you imaginative. It makes you real. That's the world. And that's why we work on our energy. The next portion of this is very simple. And I am going to have you stand up for this. And this is it's kind of a funny thing. It's called power pose. And the power pose is pretty simple. I'm going to have you do this repeatedly. And it's a good little warm-up if the energy ball doesn't really work for you. So bend your knees a little bit. And we're going to take our fists and we're going to run our elbows back. And the only thing you're going to do is basically look at the camera and pull your fists in like you're punching forward, and you're gonna say, hoo-ah! Ready? Let's try it. Hoo-ah! One more time. Hoo-ah! One more time. Hoo-ah! Each time get a little louder. Hoo-ah! 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 Feels pretty good, actually. It's a Polynesian thing. Hoo-ah! It's a good energy builder. You might feel yourself tingle a little. It's because of the airflow. It's because of the statement. It's because of the use of air. And so that concludes our warm-up. I should have probably looked at the timer. Oh, perfect. Okay, cool. I'm pretty close. Wow. Nice. Which brings us over to what our focus is today. We'll be talking about the premise of our show, the intent of our show, and the best practices of a show. And this can apply to character or really just about anything, because these things are very important. So, what is the premise of our show? Well, the premise of our show is what makes up the show, what's the logic, what's the, the background, what are we trying to achieve? Is it multifaceted? Is it single-schooled? What are we trying to say? Intent. What did we want to do with the show? How does it behave? What does it go into? What environments does it exist in? And the best practices, what's good to do, what's not so hot to do, what's best to stay away from, what we can do to better ourselves. Pretty simple. All right, let's move on. So starting with our premise. Oh, it's 45 minutes. Trying to keep the warm-up device, trying to keep a more scheduled, organized, at least for this show, like you would take a class, so you know how long it's going to last, as opposed to my long ass streams, which is why I haven't put the call in up yet. I'll do that at the end, in case anybody has any questions or wants to call in and talk about any of these things. I'll give it about a 10-15 minute window at the most, and then but just once again, if anybody wants to call and ask questions about the practices and not drama or anything unrelated to the show itself, I appreciate you all. Okay, so what are you and your show about? That's the premise. What is your show about? What are you doing? Do you play video games? Cool. Are you an expert at that video game? Are you doing speed runs? Do you do walkthroughs? Are you just rambling around? What are you doing? Seriously, I see a lot of folks are just rambling around. What are you doing? If I wanted to see someone play a video game, I could get my nieces or nephews or the neighbor kid. Just have them stream that to me. If you're that bored, play a video game. You don't need other people to watch. Nobody needs that attention. Really, it's kind of weird. There's a lot of adults doing that. I know you're lonely. There's other outlets. If you're doing a show, do a show. What are you in your show about? If you're doing editorial, talking shit, reactionary stuff, do it and admit to it. Be floored about it. Don't pussyfoot. Don't point out what's wrong with other people's version of it. That's being an ass. Frankly, in my opinion. I mean, I guess you can, but it's insufferable. Just do your craft. It's called a craft, by the way. It's not some imaginary thing that just happened 10 years ago. I've been doing this stuff since long before most of the people online now are. Would have thought, which is kind of crazy. I'm not James Howard. I wasn't here, I wasn't the first to blog and vlog, but damn near. Put it to you this way, when Destiny was wishing for 150 on stream, I was doing 1100 on a daily on Beetle, not really thinking that was a big deal. Now I'm like, 5, yes. I love you people. I love each and every one of you. Anyways, so, the show. Does it have an intent to do something? Does it have a meaning? Does it have a through line? Is there a thematic? Is it Ethan with H3 where everything is a reverency? Very easy to decide what his is about. Humor. Is it about darkness when you watch Esoterica? When you're watching that, you get a historical reference to the occult and magic? Is that your theme? Now, niche is one thing, by the way, but people misunderstand that thematics are not specifically niche. You can go in a lot of realms, so long as you don't lock yourself into one little zone. Meaning that I enjoy particle physics, metaphysics, editorial, news, YouTube reaction. I look at 5 of the Best, yeah. I look at all kinds of things. There is no reason why you have to limit yourself because you've decided what your show is. It's rather the framing of the show. How does the show get put together? Who are you in it? How does it relate to other things? What does it say? What's its messaging? Etc. What is your show about? How does it surmise? And I would even say, for some people who are just ramblers, it might be helpful to give yourself 3 acts, or 4 acts if you're really long, and decide what the arc is. Decide what your show is about. Are you covering topical and then reaching a plateau and doing a panel and then going from the panel into something else and then surmising the show? Or are you just rambling on until you get tired? Because that's not a show. That's a phone conversation. Which is why it's important to go in with the knowledge of what you're doing, what your show is, and what you're about. Oh, you're all good. Oh, thank you very much, Dank. I appreciate it. So that's what a premise basically is when you're working with your show. And if I was pitching a meeting, I would say, my show is an irreverent take on performance and the YouTube sphere. It actually is a mocking and human memeing of the entirety of streaming. That's my pitch. You know right there what I am. I'm a human meme. I'm making fun of all streaming. Said it before. Hope you catch on. If you watch my first 30 videos, you'll see my character develop. Yep. If you think I growl in real life, I'm concerned about you. I'm seriously concerned about you. Anyway, and it might take time. Bridget, it took me. You can watch over those first 30. I'm talking in a higher pitch. I'm developing what feels comfortable, and then I started looking at other things as influence and deciding what I wanted to take from those things and how I wanted to focus them all together. It took me time to fuse them. That's another tough thing, is most people are just playing themselves. But I can tell you this, the most powerful entities on the other side of a camera have all taken very distinct measures to make their thinking, their processes, their character, and their show, even if it's realist, even if it's purist, they've all spent time focusing exactly, succinctly, what those things are, how it works, how they work in the frame, how they work in the shot, how they work in the storyline, whatever that be. And if you don't think that TV anchormen do that and stuff, you should know they. Do you think that anchormen talk on the camera the same way they talk in life? I hope not, because that is a distinctly disturbing confusion on your part. Anyways, yeah, everybody's playing a character. Now, it's more extreme in some cases, but it's performative in all cases. That's why. What are you? What's your show? What are you about? Very distinct, simple decisions to make. You can put them in a note, just like I have still to this day, reminding me that Kashan's name is Kashan. I wrote it phonetically, Kashan. So when I see him, even though he's written it Keys in now, I still go Kashan. Damn it, I'm not going to say it wrong anymore. I try not. Kashan, where are you? I know we're not doing Aaron After Dark. That's later. I will get back to that on Friday, by the way. Anyway, yeah, because there's more to add. There's apparently more to add. There's more. There's always more. Anyhow. So the premise. Now, intent. What's your message? What's your persona? What the hell is your framing? What are you doing? It's not just what is your show about. It's what is the meaning. Does it carry across all your shows? Is it individual? Are you like intellectual media who is teaching a historical guide? Oh, but Bridget, at that point, it is, may I suggest and urge you to see it as you as the character then, which is why I don't tend to put a title of what I'm referencing in my actual thumbnails any longer, because I'm the thumbnail. I want people to come watch me. And you are the same thing. It's a culture of character. It's a culture of you as the focus. So it shouldn't matter because you're the interest. You have a wide frame of reference, a great amount of experience, and you know, a level point of view. And so I would say that, yeah, less than the topics, although that's important to each of the episodes, you are the through line, just as I am. I would tend to suggest that to more artists because it does seem to be a more relevant and usable case here, streaming, that the persona, the character, is what the show is about in most cases. Some cases, you know, like I think she's called Listen to oh gosh, it's one of my new favorite channels. Where is she? It's called Stories from a Mortuary or Stories from a Mortician. Yeah, or Hear It from a Mortician. She's amazing. I'll have to. I can't find her page. Anyways, she tells crazy stories. Ghost stories, ghoul stories, mortician stories. It's very interesting stuff. And, but her stories are all mortician related. That's what she knows. And it's best to tell the stories you know. Best to talk about things that you do know, like you do. And that gives it the credence of you, whatever that be. And then focusing the actual character itself to make it interesting. Sometimes that's just a practice of looking in the mirror and repeating lines and practicing little catchphrases and things that'll help you become more comfortable in your own persona. Also, using physical articulation that is not flippant but specific, and getting a little more comfortable in your own body. That takes a lot of practice, and so don't push yourself too hard or get too hard on yourself, because the more time you spend in front of the camera, the more time you spend practicing your lines or your recitation or your diatribe, monologue, the more comfortable you'll get. I guarantee you. And some people, I find, just, you know, monologue and then edit down and find the nice little clips. Some people use scripting, and I don't, but... Oh, yes, she does. She sometimes does funny skits about death. She does all kinds of funny stuff. She has amazing historical stuff. So, what is your message? In mine, my message comes along with my ethos or my moniker here. Enjoy dinner. Have a good game too. Hope your team wins. Oh, her favorite team. Good, nice. Thank you, Dank. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you to say. Very cool, man. Appreciate that. In my case, my message is my moniker. Home of the awkward, friend of the friendless, I believe in you. And I tend to put that in every stream, mostly because it's about the influence of positive creativity, that it's one at a time. It's not something that happens en masse. There is no such thing, by the way, as clout. That clout thing is really weird. It's like somebody confabulated a video game term with audience. Well, let me tell you something. Your audience doesn't intimate, and I'll tell you this very succinctly, very distinctly, very sure of it. Your audience doesn't intimate any belief in you. Your audience is there to view you. They aren't there to support you like a cult. Clout is brought with importance. Having people view you brings no importance. Changing the world, making positive influence, leaving something behind for other people to grow and learn from, that's clout. Clout is when your name gets doors open for you. Clout is when you influence the world and change the tides. And I can tell you that 99.9% of the people online, on YouTube, on Kick, on Rumble, on all these things, haven't done shit. Not only haven't done shit, doesn't matter how much money they have. They haven't done shit. And I mean, change the world. There's no Greta Thunbergs. There's no Malawi. There's no Mandela. There's no, and to look for them, you have to search. So no, I challenge the whole of it. You want to be revolutionary? You want to say your message means something? You want to say you left something? Do something. Accomplish something in the real world. Then bring it online and use it as an example. That's what I do. And just because you don't know my accomplishments doesn't mean they aren't out there. I didn't come here till I did them. I had to be urged to come here. And then I realized, boy, I'm down for this. It's true. I'm down to spread a message. I'm down to talk to the camera. I've got the background for it and the card. That's my message. I'm here to influence positively and to deprogram all that bullshit people are selling without solution. It's just that simple. And that's the example of message. And you can give it a whole great sway and swoon. You can give it a whole angle that really means something. Persona. Now you saw just a piece of that. Decide how you behave. Are you flippant? Are you murk off the perk? Meaning playing out all the worst behaviors of streamers in front of them and then telling them everything that they fear so that they respond or react overtly? Oh, thank you, Bridget. I've had a lot of camera practice since I was a young person, very, very young. And my life was definitely on camera, for certain, early on, or on stage. And then I started supporting everybody on stage. Oh, thank you, Dank. I appreciate it. I hope you can take something away. All I can do is share and hopefully something hits people, even if it's just one thing. So persona. Are you gregarious? Are you overbearing? Are you reactionary? Are you Ben, aka Abel? Let me say this again. Are you Ben, aka Abel? And just simply moral outrage? I'll just leave that hang. Anyhow, what are you? Who are you? I'm sorry, and that's the old Ben, by the way. Ben seems to be arcing out of that. Thank goodness. Good for him. That rain stream the other day was a real tell of his true persona. It's humorous and weird and way too intellectual for his own good. Anyway. Hold on. You know what? Fledgy, it's gonna drive me crazy. Where is it? I'll share her. Let me bring her up because I was watching a ton of her this last week. Just a simple ton because I'm prepping for this weekend, of course. Here she is. It's Ask a Mortician. And, oh yeah, this one's called Iconic Corpse, the Romanov Family.
The year was 1917, and the Romanov family was in terrible trouble.
Yeah, she's funny as hell. She's an actual mortician, by the way. Speaking of which, she's a real person. She's telling the truth. Great example. She is absolutely earnest. She tells history, but she's playing a character. She's making it entertaining. There's nothing wrong with that, even if you're on a panel. In fact, I am going to start urging that more characters get on panels and start debating as themselves, as the characters, or as whatever. Put on an outfit. I see floating bananas and pigs and lizards. Yay, doobie, on panels. So, why not? Oh, she has something amazing for Halloween. Are you kidding, Bridget? I'm like waiting for it. It's gonna be. There's a couple. Morgue has got some good Halloween stuff going on there. I've got a whole bunch. Oh, Y-Files has been doing some amazing stuff. His premiere last night had like 16,000 people watching. It was pretty amazing. But then again, I've seen his live stream with 115,000 people. And you literally can't see the stage. You can't see what's being written. It just goes even on slow mode. It's funny as hell. Anyways, your persona is the makeup of your character, which you allow the audience to see. And I say that very distinctly, very specifically, which you allow the audience to see. Yes, Chuckles is a great example of a character. She definitely plays a very specific angle. She plays off the audience. She has a whole repartee. Absolutely, yeah. Trippy is a literal cartoon character. Yeah, many of them. There's many of them out there who are, the funny thing is, welcomed on panels because it's so unassuming. That's the other portion of it I think is humorous, is like, we'll take a cartoon character as unassuming, but then somebody who's playing a cartoon character as a person, how dare they? They're lying. Sorry, this requires as fast as I can make it, Jan. Sorry. Here, we're trying that again. Okay, that's better. Yeah, that's better, right? All right. But I did it twice. Now she's like, no. Sorry, Jan. Sorry. Oh, how do we get back there? Here we are. All right. Intent. What is your message? What is your persona? What makes up your character? Are you somebody who's combative? Are you passive? Is that you? It doesn't have to be. It might be healthier to practice other behaviors in place of your own. Why? Because it allows you to put a bit of a spacesuit on to protect the natural resource, you. It also helps to deflect away all of the nonsense, especially when we're going on panels, that people might take advantage of. Well, I saw you do this, I saw you do that. You don't have to play by any other human's rules. All of that is nonsense. There's very simple rules in the world. Be kind, don't steal, do unto others as you would have done to you, and that includes online. If you start to find yourself doing terrible things just because that's the way you have fun, yeah, you're a misanthrope. You're misunderstanding. There is no glory to that. There is just being a jerk. You're just doing things wrong. You're not taking part in some system. You're not holier than thou. You're the problem. So, that's separated from persona. Pick a dark arc. Be a bad guy. That's fine. Plenty of great bad guys out there. But play it. Don't live it. It's a show. Your persona is a way to protect yourself and others. And to be real and true and keep a through line. You think that Ethan on H3 doesn't know his own persona? Isn't acutely aware of who and what is expected of him? It's a very important thing when it comes to show, life, and business. And anytime you walk on a stage or just speak to a crowd or speak to a room full of people, your persona, your behaviors are all being noted from everybody's point of view. And you can't expect to know what everybody's point of view is going to come with. It comes with their own intimations, their own projections, their own observations. True or not, you can't control them. The only thing you can do is control your own persona. All right, so this brings me to framing. Meaning, how do you hold this whole house up? What puts this whole picture together of intent? Well, sometimes it can be just the image, the suggestion of where you are. Sometimes, like Tree 411 does that, where she puts herself in like a serene atmosphere or a fancy house, or sometimes it's just a nothing background to just go at someone, you know? But all of it is a message to your audience, whether you are doing it overtly or not. Is your framing that you're in a lounge? Are you laying on a bed? Are you setting the scene? Does it match your persona and your message? Does it play into it? Does it counter it so that it challenges the audience and confuses and confabulates? These are the calls and the choices that make for interesting performance, interesting thought, interesting persona, interesting message. The more distinct, the more overt, the more odd or the more unusual the choices of framing, the more interesting the show, the more entertaining. Because then people don't really know what you're thinking, and they have to wonder, or they have to search for it, or they can imply their own thought. Or they can take something away later on after the fact, once they build a little bigger picture. These are very important ideas when it comes to life as well. Because if you live life as a blatant monotony, you might be missing a piece of the magic, which is complexity. Not everybody is living their whole life with their life on their sleeve. And if you are, I urge you to put a bigger coat on. From the depth of my heart. Remember, framing tells the audience what is going on. Without saying it, it just intimates it. It suggests this is what to expect. And there you go. That's your intent. The message, the persona, and the framing. And now that brings us to practices, best practices. What's good to do? What's good to practice? What's good to repeat? We've already kind of talked about some things not to do, but people hardly talk about the good things to do. So let's look at them. Let's start with, I love how serious her eyes are, by the way, here. Look at those blues. You can tell they're blue in the black and white even. Stay consistent. That means, if you do a show weekly, do a show weekly. If you do a show daily, do a show, well, don't kill yourself, but stay consistent within your own reasoning. Don't be overbearing with your schedule. I also suggest that if you're streaming every single day, you might burn out faster because this is a show environment. It's a marathon. Do you have something topically every single day? Are you a news environment? Are you a talk show? Are you a panel show? Do you have that set up long term? Do you know that most people that have that set up on a 5-day-a-week schedule have a crew doing all of the work for them in preparation for the show, and that they come on and read the script? Be aware that in those cases, if you're doing a daily show, you have a lot of weight on your shoulders to complete a show. Sitting in front of the camera 5 days a week, you're not doing a show. You're talking on a VC. And I urge you to log off because you don't know the difference. That's truly from the depth of my heart. That said, the difference between being on a VC and doing a show is that your show has a premise. What are you? Your show about? It has an intent. What is your message, your persona, and your framing? And it has a consistent set of practices. Such as, you feature a guest, or you do humor, or you do aggressive drama, or you do panels, or you do, some would call it the niche, but your niches don't have to be limited. You can have a multi-schooled affair like my show that I can basically welcome and do just about, oh, thank you, Flezzy B. That's very kind. Yeah, the treat stream might not be up right now because I still need to transfer the YouTube. For some reason, it doesn't go live with YouTube, so I have to do something with that. But everything else is live, and I appreciate that. Yeah, tips, anything, all are welcomed, and I appreciate it all. It all helps. And as I start to turn this into something that is going to start supporting the show, I will be starting a Patreon soon. I don't know if I'll get monetized by YouTube anytime soon because of my content, and they really don't seem to like me, especially because I really, I criticize them. I do, and I have for a long time. And there's people that know me there. So, that's it. Do what you do, but whatever you do it consistently. And if you're gonna make a right turn on the audience, make it a harsh right turn. Make it something that takes them out of the blue. Make it something that galvanizes, that brings them. Oh, it's definitely time for more coffee. Always. Make it an interesting choice. If you're going to be inconsistent, make sure it is directed, obvious, and a clear choice. Oh, thank you, Bridget. I definitely, oh, heck yeah. Always time, like I said, always time for more. Oh yeah, I forgot, Bridget, you're the one who sends me coffee. Thank you. By the way, let me just tell you something. That coffee company, I wish I could find them in the store, because Soul Reviver, that place, I know it's backwards, but Soul Reviver, what a cool coffee company. They are super cool. I've got a number of packs from them. I bought one of their variety packs personally. Holy mackerel, good stuff. Ethical coffee company, vertical. They pay like fair wage prices. It's amazing. And it's a single good dude. And I talked to a friend of mine who does cocoa. Yes, I have a friend. He does cocoa. Momo Cocoa. It's amazing. Can't even say it enough. Momo Cocoa. If you don't know Momo Cocoa, it's spelled M-O-M-O, Cocoa. They literally make the stuff by hand from the cocoa beans. My buddy Ian, I've known him my whole life, making the cocoa. Okay? Momo Cocoa. In fact, hold on a second. Just because, and just because. Where's my chat? There's my chat. Oh, nope. Come back here. Here. It's Christmas time, so sometimes they've got a lot of orders at Christmas, but still their flavors are ridiculous. Swear to God, they're spicy. Mama Coco. Oh, Fuzzy Bee, that's very kind. Wow. Hold on a second. Where the hell's the notifications? Alerts should be going off right now. Damn! Stream Elements? Stream Elements sucks. Thank you, Fuzzy Bee. Hold on a second. Oh, thank you. By the way, all your tips go to making the show better. I literally am gonna start working on making this beyond just a streaming show. I am looking at it like the Y-Files. I've been studying a lot of the bigger shows and looking towards those elements and reaching out towards them. And not just, a million followers or whatever. No, I want to make my show a better show. And I don't mean, I can talk longer, I'm going to share, I'm going to make more perks. I'll have that too at some point when I get a membership or whatever. And when I start Patreon, I'm talking about, I want to make this a show. So I'm almost done with the house. And I want to do what I do. Just turn this into something else that people don't expect. Maybe get a band or something. I'm going to figure it out. Because I want to take it to the next level. And I think you know that I can. And I'm working on it now. So I appreciate any and all help. And soon, I do believe, things are going to change around here. In a good light. Anyways. Which brings me to say yes and. Opportunity, moments of conversation, thoughts. Oh, thank you, Flezzy B. I definitely appreciate the encouragement. That's awesome. And it's very helpful. And it's people like Flezzy B, people like Bridget, people like Lita, people like Lizard Tree, people like anybody in chat who gives me the hope and the energy and the urging and the want to be here and do a better show and to spread more love and to see what's out there. I see that it's kind of needed, isn't it? And I think that this message will resound and win the day. And that, if anybody has to play Steinberg from 1984, I'm happy to do it. Because damn straight, somebody got to say love wins. Thank you. I appreciate that. Say yes and. Say yes to the dress. Say yes. It's a positive thing. Even when you say it, your brain releases a little bit of endorphin. just because you're saying yes. Isn't that awesome? You get a positive energy from saying yes. But it's more than that. It's about thought. It's about when you're in debate, when you're in a conversation. Yes and gives you an advantage at all time because you can yes and into a better place of synthesis. Yes and allows you to have agreement first. Yes and allows you to take what's said and instead of being contrarian, be a positive person and influence on the subject and take creativity or the conversation, the logic to another level. Meaning, yes, we can and X, Y, and Z. Yes, there is a possibility. Yes, that could be plausible. Yes, I could believe you. Yes, that might be the case. Yes. In another situation, I might buy it. But in today's case, I see it a little differently. See how that works? Always sounds better when you start with yes. Yes and. Now, if you're talking comedy, it's a game of one-upsmanship of yes and. Well, you told me to buy the dead parrot. Yes, and I thought that was going to be a very valuable investment once you stuffed him and stuck him in the corner. But yes, but that parrot really cost me $300, buddy. And now I got a stuffed parrot in the corner that cost me $300, and the damn thing doesn't speak. Yes, it's not supposed to speak. It's supposed to be the most pleasant damn parrot you ever had because it's silent in the corner. It cost you $300 after you stuffed it. Yes, but who wants a silent fucking parrot? You know what I'm talking about? You get it? Yes and. All day. Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely, Bridget. Oh, you've got my email. I'll send you my ID. You've made up. You're not gonna. I doubt you doc. Even if you dox me, where? Now I do have another address you can send to if you're that concerned. But hit me up. You've got my email, Bridget. Hit me up. I'd love to see that. Whatever. I'm totally down. You want me to do an unboxing? I've never. I always wanted to do an unboxing. That'd be rad. Just random unboxing too. Just one. Just have the unboxing. I missed that whole era, by the way. There was a whole era of everybody unboxing stuff. Everybody around me was getting stuff too, all the time. I actually got a Vloggy. I still have it somewhere, a Vloggy. Remember that? We had beautiful imagery. Terrible to use, totally weird. I had no grip on it, but it was beautiful. 720p before anybody else had it. No sweat. Yes and gets you further. Yes and is more positive. Yes and brings you new ideas. Try it. It's a great leverage device when it comes to thought and creativity. Oh yeah, I would totally do that. That's exactly how I do it. I'd do a little video of like, yeah, absolutely. And finally, but most importantly, have a code of conduct. Now, what does this mean? In your best practices, keeping a code of conduct, whatever that be, whether it be a code to be kind, or a code to be mean, or a code to be pleasant, or a code to be unpleasant, or a code to be contrarian, or a code to be whatever it is, have it. Stick to it. Make it yours. Don't waver. Don't waffle. See, what happens is that the audience understands and sees within you, but it doesn't know why. They don't trust the totality of you. They see something within you that they might read into. So if you have this code of conduct, you don't have to share it with them. It's something you have for yourself, something you keep for yourself. It's maybe something you write down in a diary. It may be something you write in front of you, like I have Kishan written, so I never forget. His name is Kishan and not Kizan, as is written in his profile, which is confusing. But see, my code is that I want to do right by others. Now, is that what Aaron offline does? Yeah, actually. But is it what AronMSound needs to do? No. It's just what he is. Am I speaking in third person about myself? I'm speaking about the character. Don't get it confused. If you are, Hey, okay. Do you think the manosphere is on a negative code? And don't you really believe, and don't really believe all their, oh yeah, no, I think that a lot of them are on that grift, or on that selling of negative pain point, because they know it makes money, because they know it's popular, because the algorithm carries it. And, you know, YouTube, I believe, is definitely accountable for a lot of the perpetration and the proliferation of these negative concepts, which is why I seek to deprogram and add my own little seed, taking down those mental prisons one at a time, reaching my hand out. I'm sorry for the dirty hand. I've been, as you can see, I've got like scratches and all sorts of stuff. I've pierced myself multiple times this past week, building a house, not safe. So, but I reach my dirty ass hand, even though I've washed it 32 times, out to those who have fallen or are sitting there behind the mental prison, just as I urge you to. And that takes a code of conduct, because if you don't have one, you won't care. And I think it's up to each and every one of us individually to choose that code, whatever that be, distinctly, specifically, so that we tell the audience or those around us, without saying a word, what we stand for, how we stand for it, and whether or not we will be reliable. Period. And that brings us to the end of our best practices. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Inverted Reality. So, what did we go over today? Let's look at it. First off, the premise. What is your premise? What are you about? And what is your show about? How does it work? What are you saying? What do you mean? What image comes off? What are the optics? Then, your intent. What is your message for that optic? What creates the optic out of your message? What is your persona that carries that message? Is it distinct? Is it you? Is it embellished? Are you wearing a spacesuit for safety? These are the questions, and the more interesting questions, the more interesting your persona. And then what is your framing for all of the above? What carries it in the image? What carries it in your show? In the thematic? In the arc? What is the frame for your persona and your message that directs your intent? And finally, but very importantly, your best practices. Stay consistent with what you do, whatever that is. Stay consistent with your timing. Stay consistent with your productivity. Stay consistent with your message, your framing, everything. If you're going to change, do it slowly or distinctly rapidly, so that it's a shock and impression. Say yes and. Yes and get you further in a thought. Yes and get you closer to synthesis always. Yes and makes humor much funnier. And finally, and most importantly, have a code of conduct for yourself. No one needs to know it, but it will let the audience know, and let your friends know, and let your coworkers know what you stand for, because it will emanate from inside of you. And that, my friends, well, that concludes our show this week. And I want to thank you for joining me. I want to thank you for warming up, and I'll be back again next Monday. And before we go, I'm going to share this little bit of Eric Bogosian as the Doctor. And it's called
Things That Nobody Ever Wants to Hear.
Medicine. This is from, I believe, the show known as Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll.
Come on in, David. Come on in. Just take a seat. We just got the results back from the lab, and they're good. Lots of positive indicators. I'll let you take the lab results home with you when you leave. Now, David, just sit down, David, sit down.
Now, do you
Just to be
believe
on the
he's
safe
real?
Side, I'd like to start you on some medication. I can't say it's going to do anything, but on the other hand,
Do you think
it can't
he's
hurt
lying?
either. Okay? All right. Now, David,
Or do you think he's
this
framed,
medicine
his
does have
intent,
some side effects. I just want you to know what
his
those are.
premise,
In case
his
anything comes up,
character?
you don't get overly concerned. All
Do you
right?
think that his code,
Okay. Now, David, after
his
you're on this
belief in
drug for a couple
himself
of days, you will
is
notice some
reassured
blurring of vision. Just means the
and
medicine's
specific?
working. Don't worry about that. Okay? And you will experience a diminishment
Are his
of your
choices
sex
interesting? Do you
drive. To a
believe
great
him?
extent. To a great extent. I'd be surprised if any sex drive at all, actually, after about 2 weeks on this stuff. Now, David, sometimes in the morning you're going to get
These
up
choices are
in the morning,
yours,
you're
my
going to feel
friends.
a little dizzy. Don't worry about that. What you might find worrisome, though, is sometimes when you're taking a shower, you're going to be losing some hair, clumps of hair, might get some bald spots.
And the more
on your head
interesting
here
choices
there.
and selections you make,
if that's causing you a lot of distress, I would
the better your
prescribe
show,
a hat.
your performance,
It's good for that.
your personal persona,
Now, also
your public
itching is very
speaking,
common. We find there's itching on the
your
arms,
thought
on the
patterns,
legs, on the
and
palms
mental
of the
health,
hands, the soles of the feet.
and balance will
You might
be.
even get what we call an epidermal sebaceous trauma, which is just a fancy term for large bleeding scabs.
Can
on
you
your
buy
arms and on
into
your
it?
legs.
Can you say yes and?
If you're having a problem with that, just
I
call
hope
up
you
Heidi
can.
at the front desk, and she'll give you a prescription for
Either way.
hydrocortisone cream. Clear that right up. Shouldn't have any. I won't charge you for the visit. Come by anytime you want.
I'm so glad that you could join us for the Healthy Streamer and Actors class. I'll be back next Monday with more warm-up and tricks and tips for the Healthy Streamer. Hopefully Brittany Simon caught the show. I do the show each week in honor of somebody who I think might find this interesting. Also because it's fun to tag people that are way bigger streamers, especially when I like them. Because I think that this applies to everybody. And I won't be taking calls this week just because I want to round up when I'm at the 1:30 mark. I'm trying to keep a 90-minute schedule on this one, so it could be watched over and over. I appreciate you. And let me remind you, it's up to each and every one of us to make these decisions for ourselves and to set the precedent of positivity in our messaging, in our being, and our persona when standing on the other side of the camera. So be the flower that plants the seed one at a time to grow into another flower so the bees may carry your metaphoric pollen off into the breeze. One at a time. That's what it takes. And most importantly, when you see someone fall or see that bar coming in really low, there's really only one thing to say. And I think you know what that is. Look up. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you got something out of today. Hope you got to warm up. Hope you took something home with you. Hope you had a good dinner day. And I'll be back next week, back on normal schedule. I appreciate you hanging in here with me. And Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week, all spooky stories. Let's get at it. We got some Bigfoot, we got some UFO, we got real vampires in the house coming up. Are you ready for it? Can you handle the fear? Probably. You can handle it. I'm sure you can handle it. Anyways, Flezzy B, thank you so much for giving. And, to everybody who's been here, I appreciate you. You're all really awesome. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. And most importantly, look up. Clear.